Hi everyone, welcome to 22nd or 3rd. I'm sorry, I'm being so bad. Welcome to the 23rd day of 30 days of React. And today we have Vinayak here. And Vinayak is currently in San Francisco. Or where are you, Vinayak? He's just
Yeah,
near
I'm
me.
San Francisco. Yeah,
He's just
I'm
near
just
me.
sitting on top of the hill.
Yeah. He's just near me, just joking things. Okay. So hey Vinayak. So
Oh,
it's awesome that this is going to be a brainwashing session for me, and on it's something totally related to TypeScript. Okay, I'll just leave Vinayak to take over this session.
cool. Thanks, Praveen. Let me just give me 1 second so I can set up a couple of things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let
that
me know
should be
if you want
fine.
to share the screen or something like that.
Yeah, I will
And
let you
yeah,
know. No
just let
problem.
me know.
Yeah, cool.
Right.
So,
So
hi everyone. So, you'll see me like looking up all the time because the screens are a little bit higher. So, excuse me for that. So what we are going to do? I'm Vinayak Nirvani. I've been working in software development for 15 years or so,
wow.
and last good few years I've been working with React, and I just loved it. And ever since then, I think whenever I need to find, mainly I did contracting. So whenever I had to find contract or something, I always look in React, nothing else. Otherwise,
Yes.
before that, I was only a .NET person.
Oh,
But then,
wow.
yeah. So
That's a cool thing.
yeah, so today what we are going to do is basically we are just going to see how we can set up TypeScript, or if you already have a React.js project with JavaScript,
Mhm.
we'll see how you can start using TypeScript or install TypeScript and start using TypeScript, and also why you should use TypeScript,
We
right?
shouldn't. Like, okay, yeah, go on.
We'll see if you can try to change your mind, maybe even by at least 25% by end of the session, then
Maybe, yeah.
that'll
Let's
be a
try that out.
success. Even
That would be a
10%.
successful thing for you as a
Yeah,
developer
exactly.
or as a mentor or whatever you can
Exactly.
say.
Exactly. Cool. Well, yeah,
Challenge
there are
accepted.
two things, right? Well, few things, but main thing is like the why we should use TypeScript and the reasons, you know, to think about whether before using any new technology, whether there is a good, strong community, whether it's been developed by someone really big company or anything like that. So as we are using React.js, we know that it's done, developed by Facebook, and we are using it because we trust Facebook and they have done a good job, and we can see that it's working very well, and it's very good technology to develop apps and websites and everything really quickly.
Good.
Similarly, TypeScript, as you know, that it's developed by Microsoft. So definitely there is a really good support behind it, and there is a lot of thoughts gone behind it as well. So so yeah, that's one of the things that that it's not something just another library or some framework or something that someone developed and we are starting to use it. It's not
Agreed.
the case. So so it's Microsoft, so we can trust Microsoft.
Can we?
And the
Okay.
second, yeah, we can.
Right.
If there is anyone like with a .NET background or maybe who works in Java, they probably are aware of like OOPS concepts, right? So everything is object based. So you basically declare all the classes and then the create objects for everything like that. And the why we use them so that it's easy to access the data and things like that.
Mhm.
It's TypeScript is something similar again. All it does is instead of calling it as objects, we call them as a types. So everything is like we basically set up interfaces and then use them to create types. So the interfaces are basically types. So where should we start? So
Start by brainwashing Praveen,
I'll
maybe.
uh, I'll start by sharing screen. So are you okay for me to
Yeah,
share the
go on,
screen
go
now?
on, go on, go on.
Okay, cool. So all right, I hope everyone can see the
Can we
screen.
please get a confirmation from people who are watching in YouTube? Hey Vismita, hey Anish, hey Abhinash, hey Shanmuganathan. So
How?
Anish says that I have some idea on TypeScript as I develop web apps on Angular framework. Now I came to know that it
Yeah,
can be also used in React JS as well. Yeah, there are
yeah,
some people
that's
who
right.
made React TS, and a lot of people nowadays they are using React TS. Yeah, I know it's bad, but it's okay.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good thing because the Angular is they it used to be JavaScript now, then they completely changed it to TypeScript. So
Yes.
there is another thing to think about because why they are all turning to TypeScript because
Hmm.
it's TypeScript is nothing but JavaScript but strongly typed.
Oh,
And the reason why we should really think of that as well. So up until now, JavaScript like it's been there for like decades, and everyone has been using JavaScript to do things like client side scripting, write simple small scripts to validate fails and this and that. So then now we found out the ways to use using Node.js and all server side as well, and a lot of
yep.
new frameworks and libraries out there to do full stack development using React.js. Sorry, the using JavaScript, right? So that's one of the reasons that why we should think of like using something like TypeScript because when you start to use JavaScript at the front end, that's fine. I don't really know what the type of this variable is and this and that, and I can just use it. And then if it, it's sort of like we manage it easily.
But we
But
can we
then
can quickly do something like doing a console.log or console.dar, but do we need some such a kind of like a payload
so how
called
long are you
TypeScript?
going to do? It's like so
I keep
we can
doing. I
just
mean, we also have debuggers in JavaScript and like the Chrome and
we'll just
everywhere.
open this website, right?
Yeah,
For types. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see it easily.
cool. Can you also
So
zoom in a bit? It would be really helpful.
yeah, sure. Is that better?
Very better.
Yeah. So that's the TypeScript language website. And as you can see in here, for example, right, they just gave us like some examples why we should use TypeScript or what's the difference between compared
Okay.
to JavaScript and all. So as I was saying, like if you have some sort of variables, if you don't know anything, if it's just only one person, that's fine. But if you have like a team who are adding new objects every all the time, and if I have to independently work on something without having to worry about okay, what is this class for, what is this object for, what to expect in this object. I know it says like okay, it has a variable one, variable two, variable three, but what are the types of them? What should I expect in that? And if I don't know, I'll be using something like console log or something. And even still, it's not always clear that what to expect in that. So that's the main reason, one of the main reasons that we should
Hmm.
always have. That's the same concept behind the OOPS, using OOPS in any Java or .NET and all. That they're all strongly typed. Yeah, so you can't really store a string in integer. You can't store integer in string, and well, in some cases you can, but that's the main concept behind it. That to make everything strongly typed, so any issues or errors or bugs are caught in the compile time itself rather than the runtime. And also, if you are like working within a team, if you create one object, and when I'm using that object, I straight away know what to expect inside that object and the variable types and everything else, so I can easily understand how to use those objects as well. So that's one of the big advantage. Other than that, there is other advantages like the IntelliSense is much better in TypeScript and well. You can get that done in JavaScript as well, but I think in TypeScript it's just a little bit better. Like in here, for example, in this example, you can see like the user has three properties. If it was a JavaScript, you are not going to get this error when you try to console log user.name. But in TypeScript, it's going to throw an error and it's not going to let you build this at all, saying that user doesn't have name, so you can't really print it. So it's just going to save you from creating that bug and pushing it by mistake or anywhere to staging or wherever it is, and you just get that caught that error here itself and fix it. There's other examples as well. So in for example, when you're using well any libraries or anything like that, so straight away you get that IntelliSense, and if you do exactly what to, what are the methods available and things like that. Again, that's possible. I know that's possible in JavaScript as well, but just in TypeScript, it's like it's going to tell you exactly what's available and the types for it and everything, really, the whole signature and everything else. Uh, Other things, describe the shape. So yeah, again, it's similar, something to do with, again, the type of the method, the objects and how we use them and things like that. So when you're passing it or anywhere, the component or whatever it is accepting it, it knows exactly. And if you are using any props, you already know the types of props as well, so you don't make any issues. So for example, in here, the update user method actually takes a ID, which is a number, and update, which is a partial of a user, which is just the object of user. So if you try to pass anything else, it's just going to shout at you. Other things, yeah, again, it's just in JSX as well. It's much a little bit better, which is basically trying to say the same point. That's all. So that's just a brief of TypeScript. And as we start to work on it, you will see why it works very well. So what I'm going to do is, I'm So if you're starting a new project from scratch in React.js, and if you want to use TypeScript, it's really easy. All you do is like just the same command that you run all the time, but you just use a template, TypeScript. So, double dash template and TypeScript, which will basically set up everything that you need for TypeScript. But you may have existing projects as well, which is using JavaScript. And for that, all you do is like install few of these libraries. So the first thing is like install the TypeScript library, and then after that you need to install the types so that you get that all good things like IntelliSense and everything, autocomplete and all that kind of thing. So you need to install types for Node, React, and React DOM, and just if you're doing testing and all for that. So for any type, any library that you're trying to use in TypeScript, most of libraries will have inbuilt types in it, or some libraries will have types. You need to install them on top of it as well. So what we'll do is I was using this, but I'll not use this. Let's just start from scratch.
Okay.
That's much better.
Folks, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask the questions.
Yeah. So I'm just going to create a normal Java React.js using JavaScript, and then
Okay.
we'll see. We'll just think like we are using existing app, and we'll see how to set it up. Because if you're starting a new project, it's literally that simple. All you do is just run this, and everything else is there as well. I'll quickly show that as well, so that we can see that as well. So I'm just going to finish, and then I'll just do something like this. Hopefully it's not going to take so long. Yeah, so let's see, is there any questions quickly?
No, not yet. So for folks who are going to stick around till the end of the video, you might have a surprise. And if you answer the question correctly, there's a swag giveaway. I didn't say this, but let's see.
Is it a TypeScript sticker?
Not exactly a TypeScript sticker, but something that helps you to run TypeScript for 90 days on cloud. It's a premium one.
Okay, that's nice.
There's a free swag giveaway. Wait till the end.
So I'm just going to open this JavaScript. Uh, and this one is done as well. So we'll just quickly run this. Well, I'll just not bother. I'll just run from here. And wait 1 second. I think
Edit type.tsx. Oh no. Use Control L for clearing the screen. That's easy, right? What is
what
the
it is.
shell? What is the shell you are using?
It's terminal.
No, this is a different shell, right? What shell are you using?
Oh, even I forgot. I set it up a long time ago. It's not shell. Like you mean this the layer. This one you mean or
No. The
no?
the shell, like the one which shows the master and other things. Is it OMyZSH fish shell?
No. It's just only a template I'm using. It's a It's not like solarized
It is. This is not the
something.
thing. Like this is okay. Click on shell on the right side.
Yeah, it's the same one. Okay,
Okay, no idea.
I don't know.
Not sure. Okay, then that's fine.
I set it up quite a long time ago. I, I never got bothered about it.
All
Well,
right, let's carry on.
let's just open up my TSF.
Hey, get ready for the
So
question
what
as well.
we
Okay,
have?
so Vinayak,
Yeah,
if you have a
yeah,
nice
sure.
question to ask at the end, whoever
Yeah,
answers,
sure.
maybe we
Yeah,
can do 3 giveaways. But let's
okay.
see.
Cool. No worries. So yeah, we'll just look at here. So everything is as normal. Whatever we get with
Mhm.
the create React app, and what. So let's just think like this is an existing project in JS, and then if I just to start. So as you can see, it's just a simple JavaScript, right? So and if we think that we already have a JavaScript React.js app, and if you want to change it to TypeScript, all you do is just run this, which is basically going to install the TypeScript package with other packages for the types for Node or React and React DOM and things like that. And so done. So what we do is, so all we need to do in here is if I just replace this. So there is a couple of things. If before in here React JavaScript, all we have the component name is like app.js, but if I
Yeah.
change this to ps.js, it
Should
is
should we not use TSX?
no, yeah, we should. That's the point I was going to say actually. So that when you try to use a TS, then obviously it's going to cry because it has a HTML and all the other stuff as well.
Okay.
So obviously, whenever, so if you are using setting up some library or the class or anything functions which just only it doesn't have anything to do with HTML or it doesn't render anything, then you always use TS. But if you have something JSX, then obviously you will always use TSX. And as soon as you TSX, everything's back to normal. I'm just going to stop this and start again. So as you can see, everything works as it is. So I'm just going to say save, and everything works same. So what is the next thing I wanted to do? Let me show. So yeah, like I said, the TypeScript, the main difference between JavaScript and TypeScript is TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript, so everything is typed strongly typed. So you can't really just say that I have a variable which can be anything. Well, you can say that, but you are always supposed to have something. For example, let me see what I can do. Um, if this is, for example, going to take prop, so as soon as I add something, it's going to tell you props is declared or what it's not used. So that's just basically when you try to build it, it's going to fail because it's unused variable. But let me just see what I wanted to show. Keep forgetting.
Okay.
So I have few. I'm just going to add another component. Say, so this is sort of like a so yeah, I created some snippets to create some variables. So initially, so if you look at JavaScript component, so the component works something like this. So if it was constant or arrow function, then all you'll be doing is equal to, you're going to do something like this.
Yes.
And the difference in the TypeScript component is something like this. So it's still the same thing. The constant, you create a header, which is the name of the function. And then you have the input parameters and then the rest of the function. And then export.
And
the only main difference.
Yeah.
No, that is, yeah, we'll get to the little bit of disadvantage of using TypeScript, but they're not really disadvantage. Yes. They are just little, well, I wouldn't call them disadvantage. I would just call it a little bit extra work you need to do to make sure that the app is bug free. Mm-hmm. And I think it's worth doing that anyway. And so the new thing that you'll see is like if I had to pass any props in JavaScript, then I will have something like that. Something like
open the braces and then
something like this, or I will have this or props one or whatever it is. So we'll pass something like that.
Yes.
But what here you can do is like so the React, which has again types, and then it has a FC, which is like a functional component. So all we are saying is like a header is a functional component which takes the props, and the props is basically a interface which will basically define the type of what the props contain. So in here I can say ID, which is number, and name, which is string, and what else? That should be enough for now. And
okay. If so this is not a JSON format again. So this doesn't look like a JSON format. Okay,
no,
first of all, it's not JavaScript. Okay, this is not JavaScript. This is not JSON.
It's not. You can't create interfaces and all in JavaScript. I think So yeah, this is not JavaScript. It's not JSON. It's objects, but they are interfaces, so they are not.
It's like
really
kind of like
values.
It's kind of like CSS.
Yeah, kind of. I think if you haven't used interfaces anywhere else, like in C# and all, I think you probably easily know that it's exactly same thing. So interface you basically define what are the
Okay.
things inside that class. And then when you actually create an object for that using that interface, then that object will have actual implementation
Right.
of methods or whatever it is. So same thing in here as well. So if I had to say, for example, on complete, which is going to be a function, and that function doesn't return anything. So that's a sort of like way I can define that. Okay, the props needs to have ID, name, and blah blah stuff. So what I'm going to do is like I'm just going to leave it here, and then if I say I'll get rid of this, and if I let me just do it here itself. So as soon as I try to use this header component, it's gonna shout at you, and if we just hover on that, it'll tell you the missing fallen properties, which is props, and props is basically ID and name. So if I try to just press command, well, control and space, I don't know which one keys are.
Yeah, control space.
Control and space, I think it's for same. Yeah. So you'll see in here what it has. So as we mentioned in our props in here, it has ID, and then when you try to see, it will tell you on this side in here, which is ID is a number, so you can't really try. So if I do something like ID equal to something, it's gonna again tell you and shout at you.
What if
Type
you
string
put
is not assignable to type number.
what if you put in double quotes inside of the SDL FSDF, if you put a number there, will it still accept, or should you use the curly braces? Can you
No,
try with
it
can you
doesn't
try with
matter.
double quotes?
Yeah,
Can,
if you
no,
try
no,
to
not
use
like
it,
this, not like this, not like this. Remove this one.
okay.
Remove this one. Use double quotes and put a
Yeah,
number inside that.
it's not because in
It
the
is
end
not.
it's still a string because
Got
yeah,
it.
so it's not going to accept it. All it's just going
All
to
right.
tell you that no, you have to use a number, and that's one of the good things because it's just going to stop the bugs in the end. And also, for example, what if like I have if I don't really have anything. So let's just use this index.js, for example, but we can't really use this. I'm just going to create another one, which is so which has a header to component, right? And
Okay.
in here, I have, I'm just going to quickly import this as well. I'm going to disable this, right? And in here, what I'm going
The
to
curly
do is
braces, ID, name, and stuff.
right. And if I do something like here,
So it already says A is any, B is any.
so yeah, so it's just it's printing 3, right? That's good, and that's JavaScript. But what if I do something like this here?
12.
It's gonna print 12, right? So the problem in here is like it's add, and somehow you pass the string, and it's not complaining about it, but it's doing completely different thing. Instead of adding 1 plus 2, it's just returning 12.
12.
So that's the problem. But if you had to do something like this in here,
TS, it will not even work.
it will not work. Same thing, because if so, this will be fine until because it doesn't know anything. And whenever you don't mention the type or any variables or anything, by default it's going to take any. And in here, it's going to tell that you must or you should explicitly tell what's the type of it. So either you can say any, which makes same thing. So if I do this, and if I change this to, and I'm going to disable, remove this for time being. Come on. So yeah, and if I do this again, we're getting the same results as before. But what if I
Right.
do something like this? Oh, then it's going to shout at me before it's come in at compile time, so that you can't really pass something like this, and you have to pass
Hmm.
this. But sometimes it could be that, okay, add any, and you really want to be able to pass string and integer, the number both as well. So the way you do is something like, so if I do, I want to basically make it so that if it is a numbers, add them. If it is number and string, then just concatenate them and return. The way I do that is here, I'll say string, and then in here, I think it's not going to work because of that. We'll have to use some different way.
Right.
But yeah, basically that's what you would say. So if you want to really want to pass a based on the type and you want to do something else, the addition is not going to work in here. But I don't know how. What else? Do you know in JavaScript how we can concat two methods?
Using the
Or if
plus. Using plus.
yeah, plus is not going to work because the plus is like it's just going to shout at you. It's going to tell cannot be applied to number and string.
What you
So
can do is you can do one thing. You can do one thing. A is a number, right? A dot to string you can do.
no, that's the thing. I don't want to do that. I want to just like JavaScript. JavaScript, it doesn't complain when you're passing string and
Now you see this
number.
is one of the worst things about TypeScript.
No, it's not. It's not. I'll tell you why. Because if it is a number and string, if you're trying to do this, you have to tell exactly that why and what you want to do in this
No,
case
this
when
is
it's a
clear,
number
right? So
and string.
you want to combine two things, and
Yeah.
if you want to do concatenation, then it is supposed to be it should be both the sides. It should be string in this case.
Yeah. So you
TypeScript is
can
not
do
flexible, right? So
no. I
even
mean,
that will
if
not work.
this will work because
Oh,
now in here what you're saying is like this is more of like
verbose.
adding two strings together, whereas in if you are
Okay,
doing
okay.
something like this, it just means that you are trying to add two numbers together, but the second number could
But
be
you
a
have given
string. So
number or string, right?
yeah, that's right, but there is only one operation here to add two things together, and
Okay,
you can't have two meanings for adding two things together, whether
okay,
you add two numbers together or you add two strings together. And it's
got it.
not complaining about adding two strings together, but it's just saying that you can't add a number and string together. It just
So it is actually failing the whole thing, right?
yeah, it's just telling you
So
you have to mention it. But if I do something like this,
it needs to
now
be
it knows
explicit
that.
then in that case.
Yeah, so exactly. So that way it knows that I'm trying to add this. But if when I do this, then again it's gonna fail when I try to do this because it's just going to convert these into strings or something and just going to add them as one and two rather than
Even
as
now I'm
12.
trying to find out like okay, JS is better because it is kind of like flexible. So I can give
Yeah, but
one
it's
command
flexible. It's unpredictable. That's the problem.
unpredicted. Yeah. So if you understand
So
how JS is,
if this is just an addition, but if it was something more complex
yeah,
algorithm, and it depends on the types and everything, you have to make sure that the incoming variables of are exact types and not something else. And that's just going to save a lot of
right.
bugs, and you're not going to get any bugs and save you from surprises.
Um,
So
one question from the chat people. Ayush Bisan says one question I want to ask is how to incorporate packages that are not TypeScript compatible or to rephrase does not support TypeScript. Thanks,
it
Ayush.
does. It does, but what happens is like it's you have to tell just like this. So if you are using some sort of like a functions which doesn't have any types defined for it or doesn't have types, so all you do is like whenever you're trying to use that, you have to explicitly specify type for is as an any. So that way, it's not going to complain about it, and
Yeah.
it's just going to work. So in this way. Don't know why this hot refresh doesn't work. So this way, as you can see in here, it's just still going to work. But There you go. So that works like that. But in this case, I'm just saying that the A can be any and then B can be a number or string, which just basically means that there is still a lot of unpredictability in here, but
Got it.
at least it's going to make it work just like JavaScript. So there is nothing different than JavaScript. But it's
Okay.
just that at least it's going to restrict you. So if I try to send a null, then it's going to complain. Oh, wait, I know you want to add strings and numbers together, but then what is this? Null. You can't pass null, so it's going to shout at you.
Right.
So at least that way you can make things a little bit strongly typed, so that there is less bugs. That's one thing. So this is the way you would basically convert the your JavaScript components to TypeScript components. And in here, what you will probably do is like, you could possibly have just the props. You could call them props, or uh, you can again destructure them. And whenever you're trying to destructure, as soon as you use space control, it'll tell you what are the things. And other thing is, say I used it in here. So it's saying that I have to pass ID name and on complete. But let's say on complete, I don't really want to pass it and I want to make it optional. So all you do is like put a question mark in there. And then in here, you can say it's just going to ask you for ID and name, just that's it. So if I pass ID and name, and that's it. It's not going to complain. So that's the way you would basically make variable the props variables optional as well. So you could actually use if it doesn't have whatever. So based on that, you can actually use them straight away here. Um, yeah, that's one thing. What else I was going to show? Let me see. Yeah, other thing is like you use state, so hooks as well. So we'll just go through quickly with them. So if I have say hook for anything, which is going to, so in here, if I try to print, it's fine. But whenever I set it to 5 and I have in here, if I set count, if I try to set it to something like string, it's gonna complain.
Okay.
And why? The reason because is, so I didn't mention any type in here, but I did
Exactly.
give an initial value 5, which is a number.
Hmm.
So which is why it's by default, it's going to set it to a type number. So if you see in here, it's just going to say it has to be a number. But if
All
I
right.
do something like this, again, the error will go away and you can now set it to string. But then if you look at here, it has to be of type string.
Okay.
Sometimes, again, it happens that you want to pass a number, but also it can be
A
like
string.
null or something. So like this, if you want to mention, obviously you can't mention it in the initial value, but then
Yeah.
the way you do is like you do something like this in here, and you'd say number or string.
String or null.
So in
Should we
that
should we
way,
specify for null?
yeah, if you want to again accept null as well. So if I say here null, it's going to
Hmm.
shout at you again
Okay.
and say
So
null is it can't be string, it has to be string or number. So again, in some cases, if you want to allow null as well, you add null. And then sometimes it could be that you're trying to uh, set it to undefined. Again, that's going to shout at you as well. So you can keep on adding things as well, or
but
you can do
is there any
something.
other way to do it, because this seems like very stressful?
Yeah, the other ways like you can set up. So for example, let's just say this is a counter set,
Hmm.
and the count could have. So I'm going to set up
An
uh,
interface.
an interface for that, and just going to count, and which has a current, which is going to be number, and add, which is going to be function, which is going to take value,
Mhm.
and just going to,
It sends number. Oh,
and it just
okay.
basically, it's just a function. So that way, which I can say this is going to be of type count.
Mhm.
And when I say that, it's just going to,
But what does that mean? Like, what does current and add mean here?
which one, sorry?
No, I guess you
No,
got.
that's basically, so that's just the, so instead of a number, all I'm saying is like, this is a, so if you have like only a number, one single number, then obviously you have to do the way we did before, like
Mhm.
this, because you can't really specify anything more than that, because you are trying to like combine multiple different types together. So I'm saying that the variable inside this, inside the state could be a number of type number or of type string and things like that. So they are in themselves are state types.
Okay.
So if you are mentioning different types, obviously you have to do like that. But then if you want to improve upon this, and because the reason why I'm allowing number, string, and all is because I have something like this inside. I want to do something like this. So you can actually combine these methods or whatever inside of interface and then pass it in here. And then when you use, it's just going to say, okay, you can't really pass that. But then whenever you try to set count, then it just saying you can define undefined. Yeah, because it just by default, it's just going to accept undefined as well. Uh, and the other things when it happens is that if you try to set count, and if you do like this and space, control space, you'll see that what is it. So I don't know why I added a function here, but I'm just trying to think there could be some sort of like objects that you store in state which can have some methods as well. But that's the thing I was trying to use. So probably what you'll do is when you're using it, you'll say add or whatever, you'll run that function, and then that will basically update the value or return a new state or something like that. So that's the way you will use state as well. So any type, you can always mention the strongly type in here, and then initial, when you're trying to initialize, it's not going to accept string or anything different of different types. You always have to specify the same way. So I'm going to say add is going to be something function, and then current is going to be something like this. So you'll basically mention something like that if you want to initialize.
Right.
I don't know what I did in here,
That.
but yeah, you can basically pass a function or mention of write a function and then set that function in here as well, things like that. So that's the way you will basically set up your state. What other things I wanted to show?
You meant to brainwash
That-
me to get into TypeScript.
yeah, so
This is
I mean,
scaring me away.
come on. So you're saying that so the way to do something like this is much better than the way to do the in TypeScript by strongly typing the types for A and B.
Yeah,
Why? So is it not going to sort of like create a bug if someone tries to
that is
add
true.
some value, send a value which is not allowed or which is going
So
to,
this is only then it's just a type checker, not more than anything.
yeah, so
Like,
you so that way basically in JavaScript you'll have to add a lot of code to check your types for the variable
agreed.
type, which is going to save time. Obviously, there is that's the downside of using TypeScript, that you will have to write more code, which means like a little bit more time.
Okay.
But in the end of the day, it's just going to help you by not creating new bugs in runtime. But in JavaScript, obviously, it's good. I'm not nothing against. I love JavaScript, but at the end of the day, if I want to improve upon that, so just think of like if you have like server-side APIs, which does a lot of things like, authenticating users and then passing data from like, for example, if you have like blogs and posts and then the comments and the replies and blah, blah stuff. And they have like certain calculations and all. And if you just think of like adding like so many different types of creating objects on the fly in JavaScript, and without knowing the types for each of them and having the risk of crashing or returning some unexpected results. If you use TypeScript in server side, that's the main thing. If you're doing some coding on server side, you have to make sure that the requests coming in are of exact, well, they are valid requests or of exact types. And the return data, the client also knows what is the type of the data that's coming back as well. Otherwise, it just, you'll have like tens of thousands of lines of code in JavaScript in your server side, and none of them tell you exactly what's the type to expect. Just think of like the applications which are like in banking. So you probably know already if you are
Got it.
using something like a JavaScript, the unexpectation of like what to expect or the variable types or anything. I think it's just not good. On the client side, it's fine sometimes, I guess, because all you're doing is like displaying some things or updating some, God knows, like some variables or some labels or things like that, which is fine. It's going to be more or less just the strings or some sort of numbers that you're updating, nothing more than that. But if you're handling objects and you're doing some operations on objects and all, obviously you need to know types for that.
Okay.
And you need to make sure that your compiler tells you when there is some issues with your types or issues with your code.
Got it.
Yeah, that's about it. There's another thing that I wanted to show, which is like a useref hook, which works a little bit differently. But
Okay.
I guess we can actually cover that tomorrow because I
Yeah,
think it's
that's fine.
already 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Again.
yeah.
Yeah. So tomorrow, what I want to do is like again, I'll try to get it done in 45 minutes. Tomorrow is quite a lot of stuff to finish, so mostly I'll have to use some snippets to do certain things so that we can do quickly. But I want to show how we can use Redux, how we can set up Redux and set up multiple state providers or reducers to
Okay.
update different states and how we can use them and everything using TypeScript. And we'll see how and why we should use TypeScript in there as well. And we'll go through the useref as well. There are a few things as well. Sometimes, like you mentioned, we are using some third-party libraries and we don't know the types for it, how to find out the types for it. So we will go through that as well quickly tomorrow.
Sure.
Yeah, is there any questions?
Only those two questions and that you have answered beautifully. Thanks for that.
So hopefully at least I change your mind 5% at least. I convince you
No.
5%. The remaining
Actually,
5%
yes,
will
yes,
go more.
actually, yes, that is the answer, but it is a negative 5%. I really got scared that you need to do a lot of things, even for the props, interfaces. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
interface is up to you. It's not necessary. So if I don't know if I should show quickly, you don't really have to use interfaces. I could just say ID, which is a number, and then
no, no, no. Okay,
name,
that's
which is a
fine. I
string.
was talking about
And I
the.
could just say something like this in here, and then it's just going to work same way. So I'm
Okay,
not using it, but if I do control space, I already know it's going to accept ID and name, and same thing is going to happen across
okay,
everywhere. You don't have to specify. So in your way, basically, what you will have is in your functions, you're gonna have something like
just
this.
ID comma. Yeah,
Yeah,
just the colon
yeah,
something is not there. That's
exactly.
it.
Yeah. So as you can see, like the issue with this is like ID could be anything. So if I want to use print ID in here, I'll have to think, okay, is it going to be a string or is it actually something? I'll show you quickly. I know it's going to take 5 more minutes, but
Yeah,
I want to show you.
Go on.
one of your uh, one of your helper classes, because
Bootstrap React helper.
I was using one of those. Let me see if yeah,
Oh, wow, that's
in
awesome.
here, right? And I was looking at this and I was trying to use this. So in here, right? So you got this header component which takes Dart, children, class name, items to link. That's fine, not a problem. Dart, I could possibly guess, okay, it might be saying that, yeah, it's going to say Dart yes or no, which could be just a Boolean. And I'll probably be okay to use that.
Hmm.
Children, I understand. Class name is going to be string. That's very easy to understand. Items, it's going to be some sort of array. I
All right.
understand. Two, it's a bit difficult again. Two, is it a string or is it going to be a link or is it going to be a component? The link again, it starts with the capital L. So is it actually a component it's been getting
It's a
passed,
component, yes.
or so there are certain things, and but the problem is like when I'm trying to import use this in say app.js, it's the header is not going to tell me that the type for this. I have to basically figure it out myself by looking at the component and then say, oh, it's a type of a component
Okay.
I have to pass. But if I have made this strongly typed, then as soon as I start using header, I know that I have to pass the component there.
Got it.
Yeah. So you can see like how difficult it can be for. So that's the difficulty I had when I was trying to use this. But if I had like a more complicated components, and if I give it to my team member
Hmm.
and ask him to use this component, he's just going to say, "What? What is this? What should I pass in here?" He's going to
I
ask me
mean,
100 questions.
there should be something like a README file, which okay,
Yeah, exactly. So
in this
that's the
case, I mean,
README
this is
file.
just I did for my own purpose, so I did not write any proper README. But
No, but
yeah,
so
for
you
anything that involves more than one person who is going to work on the project, then there will be definitely like code standards, function README. Like for example, this function, this it takes these parameters. Java docs, right? Something like that.
Yeah, but my point is that you will be spending time on writing README and everything,
Right.
explanation for everything, where actually all you could do is like in here, you could just tell that, okay, the header accepts the ID and the name, which is any, or it is just a number or a string
So
or
it is
something.
similar to
Exactly.
documentation as well. It will also help you with
Yeah,
documentation. Okay.
exactly. And the moreover, it's not only a documentation, it's setting up a rules so
Rule and a
other
documentation.
developers,
Okay.
yeah, other developers are not going to make any mistakes.
So when I'm calling that function, I have no problem. But when I'm defining the function is when I'm getting the problem. You get it right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Because it's your own code, you don't see the problem. But when you start using someone else's code, then you start to see the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's all we have, I think, for today.
Okay.
So tomorrow we'll go through more and we'll see
Perfect.
how we can set up Redux as well.
Sure. If you want, you can stop the screen share as well. Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Cool. That was a great introduction.
Mhm.
Yeah, Vinayak, you are somewhere in the beaches, so you want to come in front or something like that near the camera. We can't see you, man. We can't see you. Yeah, now it is fine.
Okay. Sorry about that. Great.
Okay, do you
Yeah, I
want to
guess
ask?
just
Okay, so we have our giveaway time right now, and let's
mhm.
see if there is anyone at all for taking the giveaway. People, make some noise. And who's ready for the giveaway? We have some 90 days of premium stuff, if you have seen that. So I'll wait for another 10-15 seconds. And if no one's answering, then we'll cancel the giveaway. So, I mean, like,
Have you asked a question or what?
just go ahead, ask the question. Like, you
Well,
have you taught a lot of things. If I ask a question, it will be like demeaning what you said. So I'm just gonna stay
I
quiet.
don't know if I want to get some understanding from everyone. I think
Okay, you
I would say
you
like
are the interviewer. So
Yeah.
Based on whatever you have taught, you can
Yeah.
just frame a question and then ask them. So whoever gives the correct answer, I've got like 3 giveaways to give. So
Yeah.
yes, you
Okay.
can.
Okay. Cool. We'll go with like what's the best giveaway takeaway from why we should use TypeScript instead of JavaScript? And I think the first three people to come up with
Perfect.
the good answers, will be the
Yes.
winners, I guess.
And Vinayak is going to select the winners, and whatever he says is the final.
And the
So
Praveen
let's
is
wait
going
for the
to
answers.
spend. Praveen is going to transfer £1 million for them.
What?
No, nothing. Did I say anything?
You did. Okay, I'll check.
Okay.
I'll check in the YouTube stream later.
Cool.
Whatever you say on the internet is unerasable. So
Exactly. So you have to do that now. I said
no, no,
you're
no.
going
I'm
to
I'm
transfer
okay.
a
I'm okay
million
for giving
pound.
like what? Sorry, I didn't say yes
I
for
said
anything.
you said you can't undo that, right? So
Yeah.
you have to transfer a
No, no,
million pound to someone now.
no, no, no. I've got it. Like even just right now, I've got
Oh,
something.
okay.
But
All right.
at the same time, this is not the giveaway which I was talking about. There is a 90-day of premium thing for something, or I'll just wait because today, if no one is going to get this giveaway, then there is no use
Okay.
of telling what is that giveaway. So I'll just wait for
Cool.
any answers. Let's wait for another, say, 10 more seconds, or is it
Okay.
too low, or too early to stop the thing? Because there could be
Now we
people
can check in the
who are
comments as
writing.
well, right? We can
Okay,
check in the
yes.
comments. So we just mentioned that just writing
Okay,
in
whoever
comments as
is
well.
into this, okay, whoever is ready for getting into this giveaway, just say, yes, I want the stuff in the live chat. And then later on, if you give the answer, even that's fine. But oh, wait. Tushar has already answered it. This is the first answer.
Helps to prevent bugs that JavaScript might miss. Yeah,
This is
that's the
normal one. Something that gives a
what
convincing.
normal. That's the main thing.
Okay, fine.
That's why they created
All
TypeScript.
right. So should we give the
Yeah,
first?
definitely.
Then
Yeah,
first person
definitely.
is Tushar Jain. Then okay, fine. Tushar Jain, number one, first giveaway. Anyone else?
I guess we'll just wait for the comments later on.
Right. So anyone who is ready to take it up.
Come on, people. There's £1 million there.
£1 million, as if.
Great. Yeah, no problem. I think we should just let people take some time because I'm sure a lot of other people will be looking at
Okay.
watching the video later on as well, right?
Yeah. All right then. So the only winner today is Tushar. Then so we will
Yeah.
do that way. And Tushar, please contact me privately. How do I even contact you? That's a good question. Uh, would you like to?
Well, he can message in your LinkedIn or
Yeah,
somewhere.
LinkedIn is fine. So, but what if there are multiple Tushars? Tushar, can you just send your LinkedIn ID alone? Don't put the email, the full thing. Okay, so Ayush is in, but he has not got the answer yet. So, okay, Ayush, if you give an answer within the next 1 hour, I'll be able to consider. Okay, so that's a fair thing, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so Tushar, just leave your LinkedIn's username, the last thing, linkedin.com/in/whatever comes after the in. Just leave that on the live chat right now so that I'll go, yes, you are the right Tushar I'm talking to. And if you want that 90-day stuff, premium stuff, go on.
Yeah. I don't know, Ayush, if he joined later after we
See,
asked the
this this
questions, but
whole this whole thing is like 1 hour, right? So I'll
yeah.
give that 1 hour time for him. Awesome. We've got Tushar Jain's link. I'm not sure if it is LinkedIn, but let me try going to the LinkedIn part. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Tushar, you're not. How dare you, man? You are not connected to me on LinkedIn.
Okay, I'll just repeat the question. The question is basically, what's your best takeaway from today's session about why we should use TypeScript? What not just from today's session, but if you have used TypeScript or if you know TypeScript, what's your best takeaway? Why we should use TypeScript? So the one answer we already covered, which is TypeScript helps to prevent bugs that JavaScript might miss. So that's covered by Tushar. So any other answers will get the
Get the next two giveaways. So I still
yeah.
have two more. So yes, go on. And the offer valid for only 1 hour from now.
So
Cool. Superman. Thanks a lot, Vinayak. And Vinayak is awesome. So he's gonna come tomorrow as well. And cool.
yeah,
So that
hopefully
was really
tomorrow
nice.
this
And
week.
I really hope tomorrow will be the last TypeScript kind of a thing. I'm already
Um,
pretty scared. I mean, like
you
it's
should
night.
when you write some TypeScript code, then you'll realize the what's good about it, and then come
Maybe.
back to me and tell me whether you want to continue using
All
TypeScript or
right.
not.
All
Yeah.
right then. Superb.
Cool.
Cool then. So yeah, so that was nice session today, and I hope everyone whoever joined or whoever is going to watch this later will be benefited by this. This was like really a quick introduction about it. So tomorrow, what are we going to cover, Vinayak? So
So
you said
yeah,
two
like
things.
said tomorrow, I think that I just wanted to show a few tips and tricks about TypeScript because a lot of times you will struggle to find the type for certain things. So how to find them,
Hmm.
and other things is basically we'll set up a Redux state provider, and then we'll set up a couple of reducers for different things, and we'll see how we can use TypeScript to make better use of Redux. Really,
Awesome.
yeah.
All right then. So that was good, and I'll wait for Ayush answer from Ayush, and I guess only two people, two giveaways. So thanks everyone for coming in, and I hope it was nice, informative
Yeah.
session. So don't forget tomorrow, and tomorrow we are going to get Vinayak again, and he's gonna give something awesome. And all right then. So once again, thanks for joining in, and see you tomorrow.
See ya. Bye bye. Take care.